Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. Today I'm here to show you what gear I'm going to be using in the 2021 deer season. Okay, so I'm going to run through all my archery stuff. I realized that I've done bag breakdowns of what I carry in my bag, and I also done stuff like what I carry in my vehicle, but I've never really done a video on what gear I actually use. If you watch my hunting videos, you can figure it out, but I've never really done a breakdown of what gear I use. And a lot of my gear changes from year to year, but a lot of my gear stays pretty consistent, and I've been using it for a long time. So let's start out with something that is new this year. This year I am shooting the Gearhead 24. This is the Disruptor Pro. Really happy with this bow. I reviewed this bow a few months ago and was really happy with it, and decided to go ahead and make this my hunting bow this year, so really happy with it. On it I have a Bowfinger camera mount that I'll be using a GoPro camera on. I've got a Hitman stabilizer that I may or may not use, probably won't use. I've got a Bowfinger rest on here. When it comes to these drop away rests, I like the Bowfingers, and I like the I can't even think of the name of it now. I've used them for years. The Ripcord. I like the Ripcords. The other thing that I have on this bow is a React Pro. This is the React, the 5-pin version of it. I also have one that has the pins vertical, and that's probably my favorite, but I do like this one here as well, as it's on my hunting bow. The other one's on, I don't even know what bow it's on, but it's on one of my other bows. The quiver I'm using this year, I don't even know what kind of quiver this is. I think it's a tight spot quiver. I don't know, because it was a camo that I didn't like, and I ended up just painting it green, so I think I'm using a tight spot quiver. I don't know, because I don't have the brand on it anymore, but it has a bracket on the side that it slides into, and it has the lock on here. I'm not super picky about my quivers, because I don't shoot with them on, so that is something that I just never really put a lot of stock in, is my quivers. I can shoot an expensive one, or I can shoot a cheap one, because all it does is carry my arrows for me. So that's the bow that I'm shooting this year. I'm shooting about 65 pounds. This bow maxes out at 65 pounds, and I'm going to shoot it probably maxed out or pretty close to it. So that's the bow that I'm shooting this year, and that is the gear that I'm shooting this year. I've used the React Pro since they came out, or the React sights since they came out. Love the React sights, and once I found them, I have never used another sight since then. I've used the Bowfingers and the Ripcords, exclusively since I tried out a Ripcord. I've tried just a few other ones, but almost exclusively use those. My other gear on here, it kind of changes from year to year. So let's talk about my release, because I actually do get a lot of questions about this release. I'm using a Wayland's hooker with a wrist strap on here. I just took a True Ball wrist strap because I like those, and put my Wayland's hooker on here. This is a back tension release. You can see the hook right there. That's why they call it a hooker. You put your ring finger in there, you put your middle finger on there, thumb around here, pull the bow back, and when you take your thumb off this, as you pull back through back tension, it will activate that thing. The other one that I use, my backup release, is a Carter back strap. Had that thing for a long time, and it's just something that I'm really used to, so I can go back to it in a very short amount of time, get really used to it, and no problem. But this Wayland's hooker, I've been using this for about 3 seasons now. I've owned it for about 5 years. It took me a couple years to get the I didn't like having it in my pocket and having to take it out. I was always afraid I was going to drop it, so I finally just put it on a wrist strap, and that really made it my go-to release, especially for hunting. So that's what I use as far as hunting goes, or my release goes for hunting. On my arrows, I am still using the deer crossing arrows that I've been using for a long time. These are the silencers, but they're pretty much the same arrow as the SD Hunters. They weigh about 450 grains. Got them fletched up with some fusion veins that I've used for a long time. Really like those. Got my white wraps on here from the DIY wrap video that I did. Not a wrap video. I'm not on there busting a rhyme. A DIY arrow wrap video that I did. So these are cheap, about 5 cents a piece. If you want to go watch that, go check that out. Very easy way to make your arrow show up and shine really well. The head that I'm using this year is a dirt nap head. I'm using probably 2 different heads I may try out. I don't have an alpha in there. I'm using the alphas out of my son's crossbow, but out of the compound bow, I'm using the DRTs. And the reason that I'm using these is I wanted to go back to basics. I wanted to go back to simpler broadheads. I don't want to worry about a mechanical opening up and not, you know, I made a good shot on a deer a few years ago. The mechanical didn't open and ended up losing a 150-inch deer, and it hurt. It hurt a lot, no matter what deer it is, but it hurt a little bit more considering he was a 150-inch deer. So I'm going back to the old reliable DRTs. This is just a cut-on contact, 4-blade broadhead, 100 grain or 125 grain with a little adapter. So I like the versatility of it, and just a razor-sharp broadhead that is very, very tough. I have shot 2 hogs with these things, and they did a fantastic job on both hogs that I shot. One hog, I made a bad shot on him, and I hit him in the shield, and it just sliced up here, and it didn't go into his vitals. But man, it made just a huge wound channel along his side. I ended up having to put him down with a pistol after he ran me over. But the broadhead did a great job. I did not execute properly. The other one, I put it right behind his rib, and it came out right in front of his shoulder, right at the base of his throat. That hog went about 35 yards, and this arrow, or this broadhead, absolutely cleaned out all the vitals in there. So that's the arrow and broadhead combination that I'm going to be using this year. And I'm going to show you my bag. I'm not really going to get into what I've got in there. I just want to show you the new bag that I am using this year. This is the Horn Hunter G3. Just picked this up. I may end up swapping this out for a Sitka toolbox, the one that I reviewed, but I've got this one now, so I figured I'd give it a try. This is the Horn Hunter G3, and I like it because you can unzip this top part right here and hang this bag up. And once you hang this bag up, everything you need is right there and easily accessible. So that's one of the reasons why I picked up this Horn Hunter G3. And the other thing I like about it is I can hook my bow onto it, and I can just pull them both up at one time, and my bow is secure on there. So I think that's about it as far as archery goes that I want to show you guys what I'm using. I do want to show, I'm going to show you guys a couple of my rifles. One is a muzzleloader, and I got a very special reason of why I'm using it. And then I'm just going to show you my cheap Axis rifle and talk about it a little bit. So if you're not interested in the rifle stuff, go ahead and stop this video right now. Go and have a beer or do something else. So I'm going to switch to rifles right now. Okay, so the first rifle that I want to show you guys is my muzzleloader. I'm going to take this out during rifle season. I may end up carrying both this and my rifle because I'm only good with this thing to about 50 yards. It has open sights on it, and I'm going to use a patch and a round ball. You could probably hit something about 100 yards out there with it, but I just don't practice with it enough, so I only trust myself out to about 50 yards with it. This is just an old Hawkins rifle, or an old, oh, what is this? This is a Thompson. This is a Thompson Center. This is my 30th year hunting as a deer hunter. I'm 42. Started when I was 12, so this is my 30th season hunting deer. This rifle was one of the first rifles that I ever killed a deer with. It's the rifle that I was taught to shoot a muzzleloader with, and it was given to me when my uncle died. So this rifle means a lot to me, and the barrel got fouled, and what it ended up being was, as we were cleaning it, I wasn't doing a good job of getting everything out of the bottom, and the bottom was just caked up with rust and, you know, fouled powder and just old things like that, and it was just nasty. So I was able to get this thing apart. I was able to clean out the bottom of it and get it properly cleaned. It had some wood issues on the side. The escutcheons were messed up. This part right here was not holding it together properly anymore, and my ramrod was messed up. It was broken. So I rehabilitated this gun this year, refinished the stock, got it looking good again, got the barrel cleaned and got it to where it's functional again, got the escutcheons replaced, got a new ramrod for it, and for my 30th year I want to kill a deer with the muzzleloader that my uncle taught me to shoot with and taught me, and I first started to rifle hunt with. I love this gun and miss the man who gave it to me, and I think it's a good fitting way to celebrate my 30th year is to take a deer with a gun that my Uncle Tom gave me. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm getting a little emotional right now just thinking about it, and it's kind of making me miss Uncle Tom. But I think it's going to be an awesome thing to kill a deer with this rifle this year and celebrate my 30th year and celebrate Uncle Tom as well. Okay, so this is my other rifle. This is my rifle that I'm going to use during rifle season when I'm not using the side lock. And the reason I show you this is a cheap $300 Savage rifle. Nothing special about it except for what I did to it. This is a Savage Axis. It's one of the older ones. Does not have the Axis trigger in it, the AccuTrigger trigger. This is a 25-06. Love that caliber. And this gun has just got a $100 Leupold scope on it. It's a 3x9 scope. Nothing special there. But this gun, at 100 yards, will put up a sub half-inch group. If I do my part, if I'm shooting it out of off of a good bench, I can put up a 7/16 inch group on a good day. So I can put up a sub half-inch group with this rifle. And that's pretty good to me for a deer rifle and for one that costs $300. So what I ended up doing with this thing is I ended up bedding the action. Look that up on YouTube. I bedded the forestock to stiffen up the stock, and I actually did some stuff. I didn't really bed it, but I filled the end of this with fiberglass to stiffen up and add a little bit of weight to the stock in the back. The other thing that I did is I replaced the trigger with an M-Carbo trigger kit just to get the trigger down to about 2.5–3 pounds, where I really like. This gun is a tack driver, and it really made me enjoy rifle season last year. Enjoyed working on it. I enjoyed shooting it before season started, and I really had a great season with rifle hunting with this gun. I killed 2 deer in about 15 minutes. I shot a doe, and while I was waiting for my hunting partner to come over and help me carry her out, I shot another buck that he'd pushed to me, and both of them, I hit the doe right behind the shoulder. She went about 15 yards. I hit the buck. He was kind of facing me at the base of the neck, came out this side of him, and he went, I don't think he went 3 steps, and he was down. So this is a cheap rifle, and you can make one of these cheap rifles shoot fantastic, especially for around here in Missouri, where you're not going to be shooting over 100 yards normally, at least in southwest Missouri anyway. So it is a fantastic rifle, and it is a very affordable rifle as well. So that is my Savage Axis 25-06, and I love that gun. Absolutely have a good time. Never thought I would say I love rifle season, but I loved rifle season with that thing. Just the confidence and the fact that I did it. I'm shooting a hand load out of it, but what I ended up doing was that gun shoots the American Whitetail from Hornady. Fantastic. That's what it shoots. And I did some hand loads out of it, just trying to mimic that American Whitetail. I bought the Hornady, the same bullets that were out of it, and tried some different powders and some different grain weights of those powders and things like that, and really experimented with it, and was able to match the performance that I was getting out of the Hornady American Whitetail. So now I can pick up my hand loads, or I can pick up a box of Hornady American Whitetail, and I can shoot them and both get a half-inch group out of either one. So that was really fun for me, was really diving deep into both of these rifles. You know, doing the repair work on the muzzleloader and doing all the work on the Savage to make it shoot great, and doing all the hand loads and really getting those tuned in as well to make it shoot really good. So that's the gear that I'm shooting this year. I think I covered pretty much everything that's important. So if you have any questions about what else I'm using, something I didn't cover, you know, things like that, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you want to find out more about any of these products that I'm shooting, or anything that I mentioned in this video, you can check our channel. You can check our social media pages. We are on Instagram and Facebook under Ike's Outdoors. And if you want to leave your comments in the section below, I answer everything that I get on YouTube. So I will be sure to answer any questions that you have here on YouTube as well. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the gear that I'm using this year. I appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.